What if the most telling detail in a breaking story is not what is said, but who quietly chooses to leave and when? In recent days, as the case surrounding Vu Mông Lung suddenly resurfaced and ignited online discussion once again, public attention shifted in an unexpected direction. Not towards a new statement, not towards an official clarification, but towards a journey, one that led Dương Thừa Lâm back to Taiwan. And that single movement was enough to set the internet alight. At first, the return appeared unremarkable, an artist traveling home, a familiar route, a familiar rhythm. Yet in moments of heightened attention, ordinary actions rarely remain ordinary for long. What gave this return weight was not its destination, but its timing. As long-dormant discussions resurfaced and online discourse intensified, this quiet movement suddenly carried symbolic significance. In the entertainment world, timing often becomes a language of its own. A schedule adjustment, a relocation, or a pause can invite more interpretation than a press release ever could. Viewers begin to ask not what has been confirmed, but what might have prompted such a choice at this precise moment. Importantly, this curiosity is not rooted in accusation. It stems from a human tendency to seek meaning when patterns emerge unexpectedly. What resonates emotionally is the stillness of the act itself. No explanation accompanied the journey. No narrative was offered to guide interpretation. In that absence, audiences are left alone with their thoughts. Some perceive it as a return to safety, others as a need for distance, and many simply recognize the vulnerability of public figures navigating uncertain landscapes. In this way, a quiet return becomes more than travel. It becomes a pause that invites reflection, reminding viewers that silence and movement can carry emotional weight long before words ever appear. Public attention rarely settles randomly. It gravitates towards proximity, not only physical closeness, but relational and contextual nearness. When individuals are perceived to stand near unfolding events, they naturally become reference points in the collective imagination. This is not an act of blame, but an instinctive search for orientation. In this case, proximity is layered. Shared professional networks, overlapping management histories, and familiar environments form a web that feels tangible to audiences, even if each strand appears innocuous on its own. When viewed separately, none of these details demand scrutiny. Yet when considered together, they create a sense of narrative gravity, a feeling that these lives have brushed against the same unseen currents. Emotionally, this produces a subtle tension. Viewers are not seeking revelations, they are seeking coherence. They want to understand how systems operate, how careers intersect, and how personal lives coexist with professional structures. The presence of proximity offers the illusion that clarity might be found nearby. What makes this dynamic compelling is its restraint. There are no dramatic confrontations, no exposed truths. Instead, there is a quiet awareness that being close to a story does not mean controlling it. Yet closeness alone is enough to attract attention. This is how proximity shapes perception. Gently, persistently, and without ever making a sound. Silence is often misunderstood as emptiness. In reality, it functions as a mirror, reflecting whatever emotions and assumptions the audience brings with them. When no explanation is offered, interpretation fills the space. Silence does not stop conversation, it reshapes it. In moments like this, the absence of commentary becomes more powerful than any statement. Some viewers interpret silence as composure, a deliberate refusal to be drawn into speculation. Others perceive it as self-preservation, an understandable instinct in an environment where every word can be reframed. Still others see silence as uncertainty, a pause taken while weighing risks invisible to the public. What is emotionally striking is that none of these interpretations cancel each other out. They coexist. Silence allows multiple truths to breathe at once, and that multiplicity keeps audiences engaged. Rather than closing the story, it opens internal dialogue within the viewer. This dynamic also humanizes public figures. Silence reminds audiences that not every question can be answered safely, and not every story belongs to the public sphere. In that recognition lies empathy. Viewers begin to sense the emotional cost of visibility, the pressure of being observed even when choosing not to speak. Thus, silence becomes reflective rather than evasive. It reveals less about facts and more about how people feel when certainty remains just out of reach. What elevates this narrative beyond a single case is the emotional shift it represents in how audiences engage with celebrity news. Increasingly, viewers are less interested in dramatic conclusions and more attentive to structural patterns. They are listening for echoes rather than headlines. This shift reflects a growing awareness that individual stories often exist within larger systems. Management networks, contractual obligations, and media ecosystems influence outcomes in ways rarely visible from the surface. When audiences sense these underlying structures, their emotional response changes. Curiosity becomes contemplation. Interest turns into concern. Rather than reacting with outrage or excitement, viewers experience a quieter emotion, unease mixed with understanding. They begin to recognize that not all outcomes are driven by personal choices alone. Some are shaped by circumstances that resist simple explanation. This awareness deepens emotional engagement. The story lingers not because it shocks, but because it feels unresolved in a meaningful way. It mirrors real life, where clarity is often partial and answers arrive slowly, if at all. By broadening the frame, the narrative invites viewers to reflect on the cost of visibility, the fragility of reputation, and the emotional labor required to exist within highly structured industries. It becomes less about what happened and more about what it reveals. Perhaps the most lasting impact of this moment lies in how it reshapes the audience's gaze. Celebrity news is no longer consumed purely as entertainment. It is increasingly read as a reflection of power, vulnerability, and restraint. Viewers are learning to notice what is absent as much as what is present. As the conversation continues, one thing is clear. This story is not about certainty. It is about awareness. And sometimes, the quietest actions invite the loudest questions. Thank you for watching Update X24/H. If you value thoughtful analysis, calm storytelling, and deeper perspectives beyond the headlines, please subscribe to our channel, like this video, and share your thoughts respectfully in the comments. Your support helps us continue bringing clarity, context, and meaningful discussion to the stories shaping today's entertainment world. Until next time, stay curious, stay thoughtful, and stay with Update X124H.